for women, it's the law of diminishing returns. I looked way better at 30 than at 50. You know, I still feel like I'm an attractive lady, but I looked way better at 30.
But I bet you could run laps around like your 20-year-old self. Now, though,
you know,
mentally,
absolutely.
That's not what we're talking about.
Right. Like, exactly. We're not talking. He said based off of looks. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Find Your Formula Reacts. Now, today, we got something a little bit different here. I'm a little bit familiar with the guy right here in the middle named Andrew Wilson. I'm pretty familiar with the whatever podcast. I've seen some of their clips like online and just like being on YouTube and stuff like that. A lot of the things go viral because of the controversy. But I've heard that this guy is a really good debater. Some might even say he's a master debater, if you will. And I heard this. I started watching maybe like 5-10 seconds of it, and they're having a really good debate talking about age and dating. You know, like should older men date younger women? Is it weird? Is it weird when younger women want to date older men? So they're kind of having some discourse, and I was like, okay, cool. This is pretty interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and react to it. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Because if fillers can I say this real quick, like a side comment? Yeah. Like a year ago, I remember there was this study when I was in one of my classes in school, and they were like, yes, like men and women, when they did this massive like meta study, they were like men and women like.
Good Lord, what is going on over here? Like, yo, is her face tatted too? And then, oh man, over here, right next to her, we got Pinhead Larry over here. Yo, this is hard to look at. Juicy on the t-shirt. Hey, avoid. I mean, look, if that's your thing, cool. But the red flags are obvious at this point. Like, they just don't care. They're just out in the open with it. But let's continue.
Or more attracted to someone usually that's younger
crap, that's
does
why she
look better,
left.
right? Objectively, they look better. Let's be real. So, but in terms of dating someone, the older they got, the more they matched up with their age.
Yes, but hang on. Let me give you the counter to this, as I understand the series of studies that you were referring to. Yes, that is true. And generally, people date within about 3 years.
Yeah, that is true. But I think that's just because people tend to date who they're closest to. You know, you have the passport bro movement, but that's a minority of people. And you have people on dating apps and stuff like that. But again, if you're on a dating app, 9 times out of 10, you're matching with people that are local. You're dating people that are next to you. So that doesn't negate the fact that if a man had the choice between, let's say, a 50-something-year-old woman and a 20-something-year-old woman, that doesn't negate the fact that every single dude on the face of the earth is going to pick the younger woman, the more attractive woman. Let's see what she says. I could be wrong, but that's just what I think.
Generally, of whoever their partner is going to end up being. This is absolutely correct. But this is because the pool in which they draw from is generally going to be amongst their peers.
Exactly.
And they're given no alternative options. However, if you adjust for alternative options, meaning you show them a picture of young, hot 20-year-old and 50-year-old and say, if you could ideally pick one, which would you pick? Which one do you think they pick?
Private chat.
So dating-wise,
yes,
they would definitely, I mean, it depends on the values, of course, right? But
Not
dating-wise, you have nothing in common when you're 80 with a 20-year-old.
Well, hold on. Well, so this is why I like watching these kind of debates, right? He asked a very specific question. Okay, he gave the parameters and said if you have a 50-something-year-old, 20-something-year-old, and that 50-something-year-old man gets to choose between a woman that's around his age range or the 20-something-year-old, who do you think that he's going to pick? And then she automatically just adds 30 years to this guy. It subtracts 2 from the girl and is like, well, if you're an 80-year-old guy dealing with a 20-something, that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question. The question was simple. Like, but it's crazy because these same women will sit up here and say like, dudes will screw anything. But then when it's coming to like objective reality that like dudes like women that are younger, more fertile, these things that trigger, that signify health, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, we can't even say that. It has to be, well, it depends on the situation. And then they try to add like all this extra context in there to try to make their answer make sense instead of just answering the question. You know what I'm saying? It's maddening to listen to, but it's good to be aware of it. So then when you are actually conversating and having a conversation with someone, you can tell if they're going to be a bit disingenuous with a conversation, or are they going to have the debate in good faith, or are they just simply to say buzzwords, make you feel some type of way, then leave? You know what I mean? But let's see how she answers. Maybe she fixes herself, or maybe Andrew drops some truth on her.
Nothing. You have nothing in. Okay, so first of all, I didn't give you the wide berth of a geriatric versus
bruh.
But what I said is that if you're a 50-year-old, if you were a 50-year-old, 40-year-old, 30-year-old, and you were given the picture of the 20, 21, 22-year-old versus the person in your age bracket, and you were asked which one you would prefer, you say, I prefer the younger girl.
Right.
Now, I'm conceding your one point, which is that people do generally date within their age bracket, but that's because those are the peers which they have around them. So that is the pool they can draw from. But if given the option of alternative pools, they would.
Hold on. What is old girl back here doing, bro? Like, she's just in NPC mode right now. Like, listen to what Andrew is saying, but watch her.
Date within their age bracket.
Or him. I don't know if that's a guy or not, but whatever they're doing.
Because those are the peers which they have around them. So that is the pool they can draw from. But if given the option of alternative pools, they would draw from those pools.
Yep.
So I think that's just a hypothetical. Like, where is that even coming from?
It's not a hypothetical. That's data analysis. That's actually, not only has this been cataloged and the data has been set in, and how they did this was this. I'll give you the methodology so that you understand. What they did was they said, okay, we're granting that most relationships happen within about 3 years of each other. So they went to a bunch of men and they asked the men, okay, if you could have this pool of women who look like this versus this pool, one being 10 to 20 years older in their age bracket versus the one 10 to 20 years younger. Guess which one they went for? Which one do you think they went for?
Okay, here's the thing.
The younger woman, obviously.
With this?
No. Answer my question first and then tell me where I'm going with this.
Yes, they would.
Which one do you think they went for?
You said based on looks. You just said based on looks. That they would obviously go on. Comes down
and
to
which
it.
Ones were those?
The younger woman.
The
ones that are younger. Yes.
Right, the younger.
Yes. Yeah. So, but you're when they looked at a picture, actually interacting and conversing on things that someone has no idea where they even were when they were.
Well, okay, fair enough. But most people today are meeting from dating apps. Most people today, they're not meeting in friend groups. They're not meeting at church. Yeah, those things still happen. But most people today are just looking at a picture of someone and then going from there and deciding if this is going to be a person that they want to continue to see, or they're going to continue to pursue, or if it's going to be a swipe left. So I understand what she's saying. Like, okay, there's more context to dating, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but looks is step one. If you're not attracted to that person, you're not going to be like, okay, well, let me find out more about them. You're going to be like, no, to the next one. Especially if you're a person that has a bunch of options, you wouldn't even waste time on someone that you're not attracted to, because you could just find someone that you're attracted to that's attracted to you if you're that type of person. So I understand what she's saying, but again, it's a little bit different. It's not really what we're talking about. She's like moving the goalpost a little bit, to try to make herself right. And it's not really answering what we're talking about.
When 9/11 happened,
so all you're saying is that
saying when they looked at a picture of someone, not when they're actually interacting and conversing on things that someone has no idea where they even were when 9/11 happened.
So all you're saying is that if we could project a 50-year-old's personality into a 20-year-old's hot body, men would always go for that? That's all you're saying.
Wouldn't we all?
All you're saying is okay, so some men prefer to have long walks on the beach and late night conversations, but they still would really prefer a hot chick. That's what you're saying.
We actually
I think we all would, though.
We actually have some stuff we can pull.
Hang on. Say that again.
I think we all would.
Right. I think we all would. So this is where you need to move out of the delusion, because you just admitted you think we all would, which would include you, which would include the 50-year-old, which would include all of them. So you can't give me the age gap gives me the ick. right?
I didn't say that.
Can't do the ick. Can't do the ick.
I said in society's eyes, that's how they view men and women. I didn't never.
No,
said
you
that.
didn't. You said I think we all would. That's a collective, which includes you.
We all would date someone that looks better.
Yeah, and if those people happen to be younger, what if those people happen to be younger, would you be dating the younger people?
The thing is, like, I'm not answering the question.
Yeah, I'm about to say that was a yes or no question. That was easy, and she's already that's what I'm saying. Like, they can't. When your worldview is challenged, and your worldview has never been challenged before, you don't know how to deal with that without moving something around to make it fit your narrative. Would you be dating the younger people if those younger people happen to be more attractive? When we say younger, obviously we're talking about adults here, okay? None of that weird stuff. We're talking about consenting adults, all right? If you're 45 and this woman is 25 and she looks good versus a 45-year-old woman who still looks good, but she looks good for 45, and you're that 45-year-old man, you're going to want to go for that 25-year-old woman. There's nothing wrong with that. And the crazy part, too, that I've always kind of thought about with this argument is I remember when I was like in high school and things of that nature, even like when I first started the job and I got to travel across the world, you would always have women my age, 20, 21, 22, going for older guys, going for the dudes who had the cars, who had the money, who could give them a lifestyle that 19-year-old me couldn't do at all. And those women weren't shamed. It was go girl. You know, you're strong and you're independent, even though you're living off of someone else. You're strong and independent. I never understood how that worked, but it was championed. It was like, you're supposed to go get what you want, get what you deserve, go and be with a man who's going to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? They would say things like, oh, if he wanted to, he would, things of that, all of that. So now let's say you become 30, 31, 32, and now you want to get with a chick who's 20, 21, 22. Those same women that were getting with those older dudes when they were 20, 21, they're calling now you're that guy, they're calling you a creep. And it's like, well, I did the exact same thing you did. The only difference is you were in your highlight reel, your prime. You know what I'm saying? You were in your rookie season, your best years, let's say, when you were going for all these dudes, and that's fine. You're allowed to do that. You're a consenting adult. It's totally okay. And we couldn't shame you. We just had to be like, dang, man, that's the girl I wanted, but it is what it is. So now you put in the work, you grind, you grow, you put in the effort as a man. Now you get to 30, 31, 32, and you want to date a chick who's 20, 21, 23. It's a problem for women your age range. And I never understood that. It's like, but you did that though. Like, you did the exact same thing. I never understood why that was a problem.
I'm trying to present like a value type scenario here. Like, it's not just all about looks is the whole point. Like, when it comes down to it, the reason why they're with that person, the variable there is because of the values, is because of like the time frame of the mindset. It's not about looks at the end of the day. That's what I'm saying.
It's about looks at the beginning of the day.
Exactly.
It's not about looks, huh?
And you see the picture, yes.
It's the law of diminishing returns for women. It's the law of diminishing returns. I looked way better at 30 than at 50. You know, I still feel like I'm an attractive lady, but I looked way better at 30.
But I bet you could run laps around like your 20-year-old self. Now, though,
you know, mentally, absolutely.
That's not what we're talking about.
Right. Like, exactly. We're not talking. He said based off of looks. So why are you making it something other than looks? Literally, like he said, we're not talking mental. We're not talking personality. We're not talking experience. None of that. Purely looks. You're going to look better when you're younger as opposed to when you're older. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're supposed to age. It happens. It's a blessing to get old. It's a blessing to get old. Why are we like, it's okay to be 58 and look 58. It's fine. You didn't mess up. You didn't get got. You're 58. You're pushing 60 and you're still alive. You made it. You know, why? Like, just be old and happy. Just age gracefully. You know, stay away from drugs, exercise regularly, drink water, eat your vegetables, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? All of that, and you'll be fine. But it's not a bad thing to be old. It's not a bad thing to age.
Yeah, just on a physical dynamic, it's the law of diminishing returns, and your youth and your collagen and your beautiful non-wrinkled skin and all of that stuff is part of the package of what a man that's older and successful and established is going to be attracted to, and that's just the trade-off. That is the trade-off of how it's always been with humans.
Initially.
She's right.
Yes, of course.
Initially, yeah.
And I certainly have a husband who values my mind. He thinks I'm a 10, and he thinks I'm brilliant or whatever, right? Makes me feel like I'm being viewed as a whole entity, not just physical appearance, right? I make him laugh, he makes me laugh, all of that stuff. But when you're a young woman, your mind is not what men are instantly judging you by. They take one look and boom, they make snap decisions in their head based on whether they'd want to talk to you, whether any of that stuff. And as you get older, your looks are going to go down the decline. I mean, that's just a fact of life.
It's like, look,
there's trade-offs. Now there's trade-offs, and
it's not true.
For me,
it's just cope.
So is it opposite?
It's just cope.
I get dumber.
It's just cope.
That's not what I'm arguing. It's not what I'm arguing. But this idea that in terms of the attractiveness of your personality and the attractiveness of your mind, it somehow increases as you get older is absolute cope.
I don't
Most
think so.
people, again, I already asked you guys, do you get more jaded as you age? Most people, in my estimation, typically don't tend to actually really develop like really compelling, fantastic personalities as they get older.
I've always
I don't agree with that.
I'm kind of confused because if I was 50 trying to date and I'm on a dating app, I'm going to be looking around for other 50.
You're a woman, though.
Right.
Men and women are
exactly.
different.
You wouldn't try to snag you a little, like, fine-ass little 30-year-old little zaddy?
Here, Nick, pull up the studies, please.
Well, why would she want a 30-year-old?
Looking? Probably not. If I saw someone 30 and they had a great...
Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, no.
All right. What does this graph say? A woman's age versus the age of the man who looks best to her. Okay, so which axis? Okay, so I'm guessing the men is in red and the woman's age. Okay. So if a woman is 20 versus the age of the man who looks best to her. Okay, so this is saying the woman's age, a 20-year-old woman thinks that a 23-year-old man looks the best. So this is the whole phenomenon of older women want younger men, kind of looks like here. Yeah, you see a 49-year-old woman, she wants a 40-year-old man. Let's see here. It's linear up to a certain point. But after a while, it kind of tapers off here. A 50-year-old woman wants a man who's 46. Yeah, it's kind of in alignment to what I believe his name is Brian was saying. Men and women aren't the same. You know what I'm saying? This is the average deviation about 3 years, as I stated earlier in the show. But ultimately, this is what women want. A 20-year-old woman, she's not going to want to date a guy who's 18, 19, typically. But I do want to see when women get older, maybe it's around the time they start menopause is when the age kind of changes a little bit here. But even still, it looks like 32, 34, 35, 37, 38, 38, 38. When a woman's 38, 39, and 40, and maybe even 41, she wants that guy who's 38. Let's see what they say. Maybe I feel like I'm missing a little bit of information here, but I think I get the gist of it. Let's see.
You're too hot and too rich. I don't want you.
Okay.
Come on.
Let's back up a
Pull
little
up
bit.
the studies, please.
But why would she want a 30-year-old?
Looking?
Huh?
Probably not.
Women
If I
first.
saw
Women
someone
first.
30 and they had a great...
Hold on.
Oh, no, you're too hot and too rich. I don't want you.
Okay.
Come on. Like, what kind of cope is this shit? Oh, you're too hot and too rich. I don't want you. Said
Okay,
no
okay.
chick ever. No.
Fair.
Show of hands. You're too hot, too rich. I don't want you. Lie to me. Put up your hands. I want to hear it. I want to hear that the guy who's 20 years younger than you at 50, who's just too hot and too rich, I just don't want him because, he's got some personality quirks.
I'm not.
He doesn't like fucking basket weaving as much as me.
I don't care how much money you have. Yes, the fuck you do.
No, I don't care how much money you have. If you got a whack ass personality, I'm gonna leave. Which is why I left
if he has money, you're gonna stay.
Okay, well, what do you want your man to have in
common?
common? Okay,
shit ton of fucking money, and I still left his ass.
What about money and good dick?
Let's test it. Let's test it and see if it's actually true. What are the actual things that you want your man interested in that you're interested in? Go ahead.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's her answer.
No.
I just want him interested
honestly,
in me.
What do you want him interested in that you're interested
in me.
Okay, but if he's interested in you and you're 50 and he's 30, you just said that you would leave him. So clearly there's more to it than that. And surprisingly enough, the chick who's covered in tattoos that I was making fun of earlier, she's the most honest. She's like, yo, if he has money and good deed, then she's staying. That's what most women feel. I don't know why this woman right here is being delusional. So I made fun of her earlier, but she's 100% right. If you have what that woman values, and unfortunately, a lot of modern women today only value looks and money and sex. If you max out all three of those things, you're going to be balling when it comes to women in today's day and age, the modern everyday Western woman, right? But I mean, why like a billionaire wants you? Billionaire, you're going to be like, no, I'm sorry, because you're 30. You're folding like laundry. You're folding like laundry, and you're going to be softer than mashed potato soup while doves fly in the background playing Jay Holiday's Bed. You're folding instantly. I don't know what you're talking about. You're folding. You are folding. That's like saying the dude, he's like, that's like if you flipped it. If a dude's like, yeah, I'm 45 and there's this chick who's 21 and she wants to hook up, no strings attached, beautiful face, beautiful body, but she's I don't know, man, like she's too young. I'm not going to do it. If that girl comes up, starts batting her eyes, whittles him down, he's going to fold every time. I don't know what this woman is talking about. She's folded.
That's
okay. Yeah, he's interested in you.
No,
but he'd be interested in you at 30 or at 50.
Exactly.
So what are these quirks at 30? What are these interests at 30 that he's going to have that you don't have?
We have a lot of interest. I have a lot of interest. Okay.
Like?
I could also match his interest. Okay. It's about.
You're not answering the question
at all.
You're literally
repeat the question.
So I'll ask it again. What are these interests you think you're going to have at 50 that you just demand that your man also must have?
Honestly, I think we're going to have our own interests because we're different people.
Right. So then he's too hot and too rich at 30 because he doesn't share some perceived interest you don't even have. Really?
Usually wisdom matches up.
Bro, exactly. Bro, see, this is why I like this. I think her whole thing is she's so against older men dating younger than her women, because that's what it really is. It really comes down to women that are more beautiful, more attractive, and they might be jealous. They might feel some type of way. Because every single woman wants the billionaire dude. Like, if a woman's a 0 or if she's a 10, they all want the same dude. So for her to be like, no, I wouldn't want him just because he's 30 based off of interest. Okay, what are these interests? I don't know. We would all have different interests because we're different people. So then you would want them. No, like it doesn't, it's completely illogical. It's completely illogical and it doesn't make any sense. That's why at the end, when the logic runs its course, she's just there like, you're right, I'd fold, but she can't say that, but her body language is portraying that. Like 100% you would fold. If you met that dude in the, what's those books that all the women love reading? Damn, I just drew a blank. 50 Shades of Grey. If you met the billionaire in 50 Shades of Grey in real life, showing you that interest that he was showing to this chick in the book, you would fold. You would leave your family. You would sell stuff. You would do any and everything to be with that guy. And we know this because you see how women treat regular dudes versus how they treat guys that they're really attracted to. It's a night and day difference. Oh my God, it is a night and day difference, yo. It is a night and day difference. It's scary the things that you can get away with when a woman likes you. She'll make up excuses for you if you do her wrong. She'll blame herself if you gaslight her. And now I'm not saying to do this, and I'm not even saying I have done this. I'm just saying allegedly, that if a woman really, really, really likes you, you can get away with murder and she'll find a way to justify why what you did is the right thing and how it's her fault. So we can't sit up here and say that, oh, if a guy is 30 and you're 50, you're not going to want him just because he's 30. No. If he has all the money, all the things that a lot of these women list, if he has all of those things, like, your girlies aren't going to prop you up for passing up on him. They're going to be like, thank you. And they're going to try to run and get to him. I don't understand why she's being delusional. Let's watch a little bit more of it.
At the end of the day, like, once you get older.
Oh, great. Well, then tell me what the wisdom is. What is the thing that you demand your man has?
You don't even know yet.
You're like respecting each other's interests.
Like in your 30s.
Are you talking about material things like a house, this and that?
Interests, hobbies. You're talking about hobbies, right?
Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, so what I'm trying to do is this. I'm trying to say, I don't actually believe you when you say, if you're at 50 and this 30-year-old guy who's really good looking and really rich is incompatible due to some sort of interest differential.
Hell
which is what you're saying. Okay, stop. Hang on. Let me finish the question.
What are those interests?
Tell me what those interests would be.
Exactly.
My interests would be like crocheting, building puzzles, like talking about shows like iCarly, talking about SpongeBob, making references. Like,
I just want to make sure I got this clear.
Playing World of Warcraft.
At 50 years old, you're going to reject a 30-year-old
Why are you cutting me off?
with a lot of money because he's not interested in your fucking crocheting. Lie to me again.
I'm not lying to you. What I told you is that I would want to be with a partner that respects my interests.
Okay, so she'll pass up. So if we run that logic, then she'll pass up the 30-year-old billionaire and get with a guy who's 55, works, I don't know, at McDonald's, but loves SpongeBob, loves crocheting, loves all of these other things that I'm trying not to die laughing right now because we know it's cap. We know it's cap, yo. It's Cap, Colin Kaepernick. All right, Captain Crunch, Captain America. It's Cap. There's no way that if you line both of these up, guy, yacht, money, blah, 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 30, and then the same exact guy, but not even broke, just a regular dude, under 100K, just a regular dude. Let's say he's making 80K, loves crocheting, all this other stuff. Chances are she's not going to go for him. She's just not. She wants that luxury lifestyle. I don't know why she's lying so hard about this.
He gotta be into him, but he can ask a question about that.
Anywhere gives a fuck about your crocheting, and you know it. Like how many more lies you gonna tell? Nobody's like, honey, I love your.
I'm sorry.
Tell me more about your needlework.
If he has
it's
money,
so important to me.
If I'm 50 years old and he got bread and he has a shitty personality, I'm not taking it. I'm 50. Yeah. I'm well off. I'm good.
Though. But when you say that. I asked what that means. You say it's a lack of shared interest, right? That's part of the personality thing.
I didn't say lack of shared interest.
Yeah, no, you just did. In fact, you gave us crocheting as an example.
I gave you interest
you legitimately are going to reject a 30-year-old. Hang on. At 50, you think you're going to legitimately reject a 30-year-old hot dude with a lot of money because he's interested in your fucking crocheting?
I'm personally going to reject anyone with a shitty personality, and I thought that was the topic.
Yeah, that's not my question. What's my question? Repeat back to me.
Okay, so if your question is if I'm going to reject someone because he doesn't like my crocheting, I'm going to be like, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? What is this?
But that wasn't the question. You said if he wasn't interested in
your question, yes.
The question was if he wasn't interested in all of my hobbies, and I thought it was also that he had a bad personality.
What hobbies?
Was that not the original question? Just that he.
I don't know why she was lying. Like at the end there, I genuinely don't understand what she was trying to prove. I think she might just be one of those women that likes to argue just to argue. She needs to be right, but like your fault. Like there's nothing about the modern Western woman that says she puts her interest and having shared mutual interests above a man's ability to provide, having money, all this other stuff. When you ask a lot of these women that show up on these podcasts, and again, not every woman is the same, but you ask a lot of these women that show up on the podcast, what do you want in an ideal man? I haven't seen a single episode where one of the women's like, he needs to know SpongeBob references off the top of his head and he needs to crochet. No one ever says that. No one ever said, no woman has ever in the history of everdom been like, I was gonna be with him, but he looped and pulled when he should have been like, your shoes are looking cool. That's a little double entendre about crocheting and the SpongeBob references just sprinkled in there just to let y'all know I'm cultured. But y'all understand what I'm saying, right? That doesn't even make sense. And I think that's why Andrew's getting frustrated, because like, why are you lying? For what? I don't know. Maybe she's lying. This is a guess, but maybe she's lying to put that message out there so all the other women do that, so that she could actually get with the 30-year-old guy when she's 50. But I don't know. And also, if you're a 30-year-old guy, rich, successful, blah, 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 why are you going for a 50-year-old woman anyways? Do you like, unless you just don't want a family, you just don't want kids, like, or I mean, maybe that's your thing, cool, but by and large, you know what I'm saying? If you're a super successful guy at 30, you're not gonna be with a 50-year-old woman if you want a family and stuff like that. Chances are you're not. So it was kind of a weird premise anyways. But it's important to note that like the things that men want from women don't necessarily value those same things in men. And the things that women want in men, men don't necessarily value those same things in women. For example, women want strength, they want assertiveness, they want dominance, leadership abilities, be able to provide, all of those things. I have never once been with a chick and been like, you know what? This chick is super cool, but she's just not dominant enough for me. I've never once done that or said that in my life, and nor do I know of anyone who has. There might be some weird minority of men out there that's the thing, they like getting stepped on. Cool. But most men, like, they just don't need that. They don't require, like, I don't need you to bring to the table what I bring to the table, because that's fine. If we're at a potluck and everyone brings mac and cheese, we only have one thing to eat, which is different types of mac and cheese. You bring mac and cheese, I'll bring some spare ribs, some baked beans, whatever the case may be. We need different people to bring different things. And that's why men and women are better together than we are apart, because we're complementary. I don't know if I said that right. We complement each other, right? We complement each other, right? What I'm good at, you're bad at. And what you're good at, I'm bad at. So I need you to watch my back and I watch your back. And now we can, you know what I'm saying? We can get these things going. Things don't have to be equal in order to be valued the same. For example, if I have a $1 bill and 4 quarters, it's still $1, but the format is different. It's the same thing with men and women. Same exact thing with men and women. Guys, if you like the video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if there's another video you would like to see me react to, drop it down in the comments below. And if I do decide to react to it, I will be putting your name right here. Guys, the best way to help out the YouTube algorithm is to like another one of my videos that you see popping on the screen right now. I will catch you guys at the next one. Peace.